Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for our webinar. My name is Megan Mummy. I am the Associate Director of Admissions on our New York City campus. We do have a great presentation for you tonight and panelists and representatives from our Student Development and Campus Activities Office. They will be doing a Q&A at the end, so please feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation and at the end. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Mimi.
Thank you so much, Megan. Hi, everyone. My name is Mimi Fortune, and I'm the Associate Director for Student Development and Campus Activities on the New York City campus. Before we get started, we have some amazing student leaders with us. I'm going to pass it over on to them so they can introduce themselves. If y'all would just tell everyone your name, your pronouns, your major, and then we'll get our presentation started.
I'll start. Hi, everybody. My name's Ursa. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a double major political science and economics.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isatu. My pronouns are she, her, hers. My majors are accounting and political science, and I'm minoring in pre-law.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jade. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a criminal justice major.
Awesome. Thank you. And just to go ahead and get our presentation started this evening, we're going to be talking about getting involved on our wonderful New York City campus. A little bit about our office and who we are. We are called SDACA, which stands for Student Development and Campus Activities. And we are in charge of providing co-curricular activities for students. So all of the engaging, fun things that you'll get to do when you get on our campus, it is our office that hosts and plans some of those events. We not only focus on some of the fun and cool things that you get to do on campus to get you involved, but we focus on the holistic development of the students. So we do a lot of leadership programs. We do diversity and cultural events. We do a lot of wellness and professional development programs for students, because we don't only believe that you should come to college and make fun and have friends and just develop socially, but we want you to develop in all the other facets and areas of your life. And so our office hosts a plethora of programs and services to support students holistically as they go through their tenure at PACE. In addition to that, we host the orientation program. I'm the one who helps direct our orientation program on the New York City campus, along with my assistant director. And part of that is we transition you into PACE. We help you get acclimated to some of the programs and services we have available on our campus. And then once you are on campus, we host convocation, and then we plan weeks of welcome. And then we're with you until you graduate. So you'll also see us at graduation. So not only that, we are here to support you as you get in, but we're here to help you as you are here on campus throughout your tenure, and then just to see you cross that stage at graduation. So we're here for the entire full cycle of your 4 years here at PACE. What we want to do is, I know that we cannot see you, this is a webinar, but we want to engage with you a little bit and see what some of you have been involved with. So in the chat section, if you would go ahead and just write down or type in some of the events or leadership positions that you've held in your current school. So I'm going to go through a little bit. If you have had some kind of leadership experience, so if you're a part of student government at your school, go ahead and put that down in the chat. If you've done volunteered work at your current institution, go ahead and put that down. If you were a campus mascot, we want to know about that. Go ahead and put that down. Any kind of involvement that you've been involved with. If you've been involved in some kind of performing arts, PACE is very big on performing arts. If you've been involved in any kind of theater or marketing, art type, entertainment, student government, student club, go ahead and put those down. We want to see what you've been involved with. And then as you get to chat with our student leaders after I get through doing my presentation, we can kind of talk about some of the things that you've been involved in. So I want to talk a little bit about our student activity fees, because that's a very important fee that is a part of your tuition. It's $101 here at PACE. And part of that fee is compiled into one big budget, which is governed by our back council, and BAC is our budget allocation committee or council, and they are ran through SGA, and SGA and BAC help allocate funding for students to plan programming on campus. So what happens is we have this huge pot of money, and SGA and BAC work collectively to distribute those funds to all of our student groups, and they plan a host of events for you throughout the school year. I always tell students that whenever you are on campus and you see a programming happening, if a club is hosting an event, if BAC is hosting an event, or if SGA is hosting an event, if our office is hosting an event, go to those events because you've paid to participate in those events. Those events come from your student activity fee, and why let someone else experience campus life when you could be doing it as well? So those fees are paid through your tuition. It's automatically applied to your bill. So don't waste it. Have fun, create those memories because you've paid for it before you got here. So definitely use those funds purposefully and intentionally. We have over 100 student organizations, and through those organizations, I want to take a step back and just mention some of the things that are paid through your tuition fees. We have our concerts that we host every year. In the past, we've had Kesha, we've had Designer, we have had DNCE, we have had Jesse McCartney on campus. Some speakers that we've had Trevor Noah, we have had Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West. Who else? Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye. We've had him on campus. Who else? We have had comedy nights. We have had all kinds of really cool, fun programs. The other day I was talking to a student, and she has a video on her phone from her freshman year of a magician that we had on campus. And she says she often refers back to that video because it was such a cool event. Watching our students just like go in hypnosis phase, it was just like mind blowing to her. But it was so fun and exciting. She still kept that on her phone, and she was actually showing it to me that she refers back to it. Because that was such a cool experience for her. So all of that is paid through your student activity fees. And then our student organizations, we have over 100 student organizations on campus. Here are the categories: academic, professional, advocacy, cultural-based groups, honor societies. We have 6 honor societies. We have a slew of media, arts, and entertainment. They're the second largest category of student organizations that we have on campus. As far as fraternities and sororities, we have 2 fraternities and 4 sororities. Our student governance is SGA and BAC, right, Ursula? I think I got that. And then special interest groups. If you were interested in starting a group on campus, we have a new student organization recognition process or renewal process that you can go through to help you get those organizations started. So again, lots of opportunities for you to connect to clubs and organizations on campus. And outside of those clubs and organizations, there are lots of events that we're hosting through our department for students. So a lot of different ways for you to connect and make meaningful experiences here at PACE. So how do you find out about all of these events and all of these opportunities? We do have an online platform called Set or Sync, and consider it like the Facebook for involvement on campus. Essentially, it's a roster of all of our student groups, and you get to go in and see our newsletters. You get to go in and see a list of all of our groups, what's happening at each group, what kind of events that they have going on. You get to meet the e-board of each group. You can communicate with them. You can see upcoming events and things of that nature. So if you're trying to track your involvement, you can also do that there. So it's, again, kind of sort of like a online Facebook for all of our groups where you can go in and find out what's going on campus. Every week we send out a newsletter that has a list of what's going on for that week. And it's through Set or Sync that we send that newsletter so you can keep up to date with everything that's happening on campus. Along with CetterSync, we have what we call university tickets, and there's where where you can go ahead and purchase some of the tickets for some of these really cool events that we have on campus. So I didn't mention Broadway series. We do take students to Broadway for a discounted price. So if the ticket was $100, you were paying half of that, sometimes less than that. Through our university ticket system, we have lots of off-campus trips. Our student orgs, again, are always hosting events off campus and on campus where you can purchase tickets. I know last year we had Meek Mill on campus and students got to purchase their tickets here. So any kind of concert, major events, and sometimes just regular events that we have going on, local events, here is where you would purchase your tickets for those events. And a lot of times they're at a very discounted price. So it's usually first come, first serve. So those tickets run very quickly. So you want to make sure that you keep this link close so that anytime you want to check to see what's going on, you have quick access to it. And then as far as leadership opportunities, again, through our office, we have what we call the orientation leaders. Ursa, Aisatu, and Jade are orientation leaders, and they served on our team this past summer. And orientation leaders, we call them OLs, they are responsible for transitioning incoming students into PACE. So all the freshman students, as they come into PACE, they have a student leader that they can connect with when they transition in and throughout the time that they're here, so that they have a friendly face when they come on campus and they're not just trying to like meet new people randomly. So they're your friendly faces when you come in on campus. And then we have our SEDACA student associate. Jade is our SEDACA student associate. And what they do is they help us, they support us in all of the initiatives that we are planning for all of our student programs. They help us with posting things on social media, any kind of support that we need for our student organizations. They are definitely there to support us. And so we're always hiring. So if that is something that you would be interested in, that is a good job opportunity for you to develop your professional development, for you to also see what's going on campus, all the fun. You get the first preview of all of it because you work in our office. And Jade could talk a little bit more about that when we get to our Q&A session. But definitely a really cool opportunity for students. And in our Setters Spirit Ambassador, we have our Weeks of Welcome and our Setters Rest Stop and our Winter Warm-Ups. These are events that we host at the very beginning of the school year, in the middle of the school year, and then at the end of our school year. And so they're in charge of course, rallying our students, engaging them, and helping them find the school spirit and school pride. And currently it's under construction, but we're working on getting it back so that we can continue raising our school spirit on our campus. And then outside of our office, again, if you're interested in cultivating a really cool environment for students in the residence hall, we have our RAs on campus. They get to live on campus and plan amazing and really cool events for students in the residence hall. Through the RA position or through the Office of Residential Life, you can become a desk assistant, you can work as an office assistant, you can be a part of RHA, which is Residence Hall Association. Again, all of these groups work to cultivate a safe learning environment within the residence hall, and they're always planning events for students to keep them engaged as well. So those are really cool opportunities in the residence halls. And then if you're into academics, if you want to be a teacher in the future, or if you just want to have that academic experience, we have what we call the University 101 Peer Leader. I was a University 101 professor last year, and I had a peer leader in my classroom who was a student, and I taught my classes some day, and some days I allowed my peer leader to teach my class, my students. And so if you're wanting to get some of that hands-on practical learning in a classroom, that is a cool opportunity. And I believe Ursa, you were one as well. Cool. That is a really cool opportunity for you to get involved and do something that's pretty cool within the classroom setting. And then again, fraternity and sorority life is ran through our office. So if that's something that you're interested in, our PACE board, they are our entertainment group. So a lot of the major concerts, a lot of the major programs that are on campus, PACE board is the one hosting it. Leadership programs, we have a leadership excursion, which is ran through our office where we take students out of New York City for a weekend, and they get to stay at a hotel and visit the local city and do a lot of leadership and team building programming as well. And then if you want to become a LEAP mentor, tour guide, or also be in student government, those are other leadership opportunities that you could be a part of. So again, outside of all of our clubs, outside of our office, outside of the leadership programs that we have within our office, outside of that, there's just so many opportunities for you to plug in and make meaningful experiences at Pace. And I'm sure if you couldn't find one, I know there's something out there for you, for sure. Student employment is very important for students here at Pace. Aisa, Ursa, and Jade all have jobs, and I know that they're doing internships as well, or if not, will be. And if you're looking for internship opportunities, if you're looking for job opportunities on campus or off campus, our Career Center is always here to support you. They help you with resume building. They'll do one-on-one interview workshops with you. So any kind of career professional development that you're looking for, our career services, they're hands-on. There's lots of career fairs that they're hosting throughout the school year. And even now, while we're virtual, they are doing virtual career fairs. And so, in fact, I believe they had one yesterday. And so again, if you're looking for job opportunities, we are in New York City. There are a plethora of opportunities for you to find a job here in New York. I know of one of my former students had 3 internships, working a full-time job and going to school. So if you're looking, it's there, and I know you can do it. All you would have to do is join our Handshake online platform through our career services and go on there and just browse through for job opportunities. And like I said earlier, we focus on the holistic development of students. We don't only just plan fun social events. We connect with various offices on campus. Our LGBTQA office, we're always working with them to make sure that our queer students feel included and a part of our PACE society. And so we're always working with them. Our Office of Multicultural Affairs, Counseling, Housing, our international office, our volunteer office, Center of Community and Action and Research. We're always working together collaboratively to plan events with students or for students. And so these are just a few of the offices that we connect with. But again, we don't just focus on the fun, we focus on making sure that you're able to develop socially and integrate yourself within our campus community. And we do these with our campus partners throughout the school year. Even though we are virtually, we have kind of sort of a hybrid format this year, we are still planning virtual programs. We are running full force virtually. Our student organizations are planning virtual events. We're hosting virtual events. This week is Social Justice Week, and we have planned so many social justice type programs for students, and it's all virtual. And so, you know, we haven't limited ourselves just because we've transitioned online. Our students are still very much engaged and involved on campus. And we look forward to having all of our students back on campus and continuing. We have learned that there are ways for us to connect with students virtually. And so sometimes we think, you know, oh man, we've gone virtual and the experience is not the same, but we've learned from that. And we now know that we can also create an in-person and virtual experience for students that is very fun and engaging. And so don't let the fact that we are virtual fool you and make you think that we're not doing anything. We are doing lots of programs virtually, and our students are definitely connecting to our PACE community online. So with that being said, this is the end of our presentation, but I want to transition over now to our Q&A session with our student leaders. So again, Jade, Ursa, and Aisa too, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start off by asking you a few questions. And my first question is, why did you choose PACE?
I can go first. This is definitely an experience I tell students all the time. Well, I actually, before I started with PACE, I was already committed to another school, LIU, which is like closer to my home. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm ready and I want to go to LIU. I'm not going to PACE, even though I was accepted. I was like, what is PACE? And I had like internships around. So like I was around this area all the time. So my mom was like, why don't you go on a tour and actually visit it? You don't even know the school and you're judging it already. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I went on campus and I'm very social. So I'm like talking to students. I'm like, hey, what's campus like? And people are like talking to me. They're not weirded out by my questions. They're not like telling me to go away. And I was like pretty impressed with that. So that was like my first impression. I was like, okay, people are friendly here and this is my comfort zone. So I was like, all right, I'll try it out and keep going. And after seeing the curriculum itself and the history of the place, the location itself, and having so many opportunities around me, I was like, I fell in love with PACE, honestly. It was just like, wow, like this is it. I literally, that day, I committed to PACE. I went to the office. I was like, I'm signing, it's sealed and delivered. Everything's done. I'm definitely going to PACE. But it was definitely an experience. And it was really, it was just the people, the community, and the strong curriculums that really drew me to PACE. But yeah, I'll pass it off to anyone else.
I can go next because I think similarly to ISA2 for me, it was the people and attending like seminars like this and interacting because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and no one that I went to high school with went to college outside of our state. Actually, I was the only one to go out of state. So when I was thinking about college and I knew I wanted to go out of state, I knew I wanted to be in New York. So I had toured a bunch of places. But it wasn't until I had gotten to PACE and I had started talking to the tour guide and the other people like in our group and the other people like around campus that I realized PACE is home, and PACE, the students, the faculty, everybody that like works there, the people in the cafeteria, like really have an interest in making sure you get the best and like get everything that you want out of your experience here. And I think that that's something really special because a lot of universities are just like, get in, get your degree, go get a job. But PACE is a place where like I love coming back to campus and seeing everybody. And as the semester's gone, like more people have been coming and I've been seeing like old friends or new faculty, and it's so nice to just see all these faces and get to interact with all these amazing people.
Yeah, when I was looking into colleges, I was originally a forensic science major, and I am from Brooklyn, New York. And the only two colleges to offer this major were Pace University and CUNY John Jay. So I decided to do a campus tour of both campuses. I did them on the same day. I went to Pace first, and the energy of Pace, I don't know what it was, but it felt like home. And it was so weird because I've never experienced that before. And when I had visited John Jay after, I just didn't get the same energy. Pace, like just the aesthetic is so much more vibrant and colorful. And like when I had went to John Jay, it was just very gray and boring in my opinion. I don't know, but I knew immediately once I did the campus tour that I was going to PACE. And here I am, a senior about to graduate in May. So
Thank y'all so much. Can you talk a little bit about your involvement experience on campus and how has that impacted your experience here at PACE? So I also want you to share some of the things that you're involved with on campus.
Yeah, I can take this one. So currently I am an orientation leader for these past couple of summers, and I am a Model UN head delegate for the political science department, and I am entering, or I guess I'm already in, excuse me, my second term on the student government executive board, and I'm a junior, so I would like to, I'm pretty involved on campus. I love being involved and getting into things. And for me, I kind of knew, because like I said, I didn't know anybody in New York. I like literally no one. I had only visited a couple of times. I knew pretty immediately after I got here my freshman year that I wanted to get involved and I wanted to start doing things. So when I went to one of the campus activities fairs my freshman year in the gym, I walked around and you get to talk to actual students and usually student leaders within all of these clubs and campus like activities. And I got to speak to these people and find out things that, you know, I really clicked with, and I tried out a lot. I definitely like, there were things that I was like, oh, like this sounds cool. And I went and I was like, okay, like this is cool, but maybe not where I want to like put all of my energy. And you go through and you try new things and you find the things that really click with you. And for me, it was student government. I've been involved in student government since my freshman year, holding like a fellowship position. And I'm now on our executive board, and I just absolutely love it so much.
Yes, I definitely love being involved on campus. So some things I'm involved in right now, I am in the e-board. I'm an e-board member for two different clubs, the American Marketing Association and Beta Alpha Psi, which is finance and accounting honor society. And I'm also a student assistant with educational media, as well as an orientation with Ursa and orientation leader with Ursa and Jade last summer. And I'm also a UN Millennium Fellow this semester. And this is our first year holding it at Pace, which I'm really excited about. And I really hope it keeps going because it's a great program. But yeah, I've been pretty involved so far. And the ways that I got involved is just like talking to people and just going to events. Even when it's virtual, I'm still like learning a lot. I like, for example, I went to an event not too long ago. It was like meet the firms. You basically meet these employers from different accounting firms and stuff. So I was speaking to them, and then after that, I got an interview with one of the big fours, and now I'm interning this summer, which is like, I can't believe it. So it's like little things like that happen when you actually choose to get involved and speak to people, you know, get out of your comfort zone overall. Because I was pretty shy in high school and I kind of got out of my shell. Being an orientation leader was like one of the things that really got me to get out of my shell this summer. Everybody could see like I really grew from like being in my little bubble to just like being able to socialize with everyone. But definitely get involved and get out there and just be yourself, honestly.
For me, my freshman year, that was definitely the year that I was most involved at Pace. Similar to ISA 2, like I was a very shy person in high school. I wasn't involved in a lot of things. So coming to Pace, I was like, I need to make friends. How can I make friends? Join events, join organizations. I joined Criminal Justice Society, Christian Fellowship at Pace, Pace Board, which handles like programming, like concerts. I joined Forensic Students Association, Chemistry Club, Legend Yearbook. I also started an organization called College Republicans, and I attended like all weeks of welcome events. So every year, Student Development and Campus Activities, they host weeks of welcome events, which is they host an event every single day for the first month of like September, and they're super fun. I met so many friends through them. I was an orientation leader for 2 summers in a row with Ursa and ISA2 this past summer. Right now, I am a senior student associate in SEDACA, and so I work and help with leadership programming, and we have a lounge space here where you can like hang out and do homework or chill out with friends. And I am also the secretary of Legend Yearbook. So if anyone is interested in joining Yearbook, or if you had a passion, you know, you can definitely come join Pace and continue that. And in addition, SEDACA also hosted a lot of leadership excursions, with Mimi briefly mentioned before. And so I've gone on 4 leadership excursions. 2 times we went to New Jersey at a camp. 1 year we went to Washington, D.C. And then this past year, my junior year, we went to Philadelphia. And they're free, all expenses paid, and a wonderful time.
Awesome. I have 2 more questions. How do you think, or what would you think was the most impactful, meaningful experience that you've had, and how students can thrive here at PACE? What are some ways that you think students, outside of just clubs and organizations, how do you think they can like be more intentional and proactive with thriving here at PACE?
So I could start us off on this one. Um, Definitely networking with professors. I think it's super, super important. It's how I actually got my first internship here, my junior year. Professors, a lot of like professors work in the field that they're teaching you. And so I was taking this probation and parole class, and my professor is a federal probation and parole officer. And he had told us that their office was looking for internships. And through him, I was able to get that opportunity. And I've also gotten I've gotten to go to conferences through professors as well. And so definitely networking with them is super, super important. Always like introduce yourself on the first day just so that they can know you. And for me, my most meaningful and impactful experience was my sophomore year. So I was going through a definitely financially stressful time. And like I said, I'm from Brooklyn and I was living at home. And it was around the time that my mother had like lost her job. And so being able to get textbooks, possibly affording tuition, was definitely something that was stressing me out my sophomore year. And so I couldn't afford a lot of the textbooks that professors were asking for me. And so I had talked to one professor and I had told him what was going on. I literally broke down in front of him. And he was so understanding that, oh, sorry. He made sure that I had access to like his textbook specifically in his office. He was like, anytime that you need to, you can always come by and borrow it and take a look at it to make sure that you're doing your assignments and everything. And he even went out of his way to get me additional scholarships to afford textbooks. And I got an increase in my tuition package because of him. And I will never, ever, ever forget him. And I'm so grateful.
No, I definitely agree with everything Jade said. Like, I don't know how to follow up with that, honestly.
Cool. My last question is, what tip do you have for students coming to PACE? And can you talk a little bit about the virtual experience before you talk about the tips? Like, how have you been able to engage and still be involved on campus virtually? And then what tips do you have for students coming to PACE?
Yeah, I could take this one. So one tip I kind of like mentioned before a little, but just being yourself. I find that a lot of students, when they start school, like, you know, you're in an unfamiliar place with like a lot of unfamiliar people. You want to fit in. You just want to get along with everyone. Just be yourself, you know. It goes a long way just because PACE is a pretty accepting place. You will definitely find your friend group and no one is really judgmental here. And I am a pretty weird person, if I may say. So it's like, I'm very awkward. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, how can anybody put up with me? But everyone is so accepting and just there for me. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, I can't actually believe I'm here and everyone's just accepting my personality for who I am. And it was just something very powerful that I keep looking back at during my journey here. So just being yourself and yeah, definitely that. Yeah, let's move
Yeah.
on. I'm getting a little emotional. Um
So sweet. I think I think to touch on a little bit about the virtual experience and for students that will be joining us like remotely, almost every single student organization this year is currently holding online club meetings and like activities through Zoom. Like the student government is doing all of that. And I know like so many clubs and orgs are doing like get-togethers and movie nights and crafting days, and they're trying their best to continue to create this community. So if you are going to be joining us like remotely or virtually, or if you're kind of like in this weird limbo that I think we all are, in which we don't really know what's going to happen in our future, I want to like let everybody know that there are still ways to get involved, to make friends. We saw firsthand on an orientation team this summer how a group of people that have never actually been in the same room together can become so close and create something so awesome as our virtual orientation was. I think like Jade and I, because we were orientation leaders 2 summers ago as well, can understand like the shift in different, like the difference between the 2 summers, but I don't think that either summer was better or worse. We got such an incredible experience getting to meet everybody. So you can still make like meaningful connections virtually. And then in terms of a tip or trick, I would always say to like try new things, jump out of your comfort zones, but also something that our very own Mimi says to us all the time, which I keep with me, it's literally like written on my desk, is to trust the process. Because sometimes you come here and you come anywhere and you have all of these big plans written out and you're like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. This is my 17-year plan. Like, that's definitely me as a person. And then things happen. And it's like, you don't get the internship you were like eyeing for 7 years, or you don't like get that leadership position, but always trust the process and understand that you are on like a path that's going to take you the right way. So one door closing is another door opening, and to always keep trying, because you never know what's going to happen. So you're going to be fine. You're going to be great.
Thank y'all so much for sharing. I know that there are some questions in the chat. I don't know if any one of you are commuters, but could any one of you expound on your commuter experience and what that's like? I know that there have been several questions about that.
I can go. I am a commuter. And when I first started commuting, I was like, oh my God, I kind of want to live on campus. I don't want to be taking the trains every day and just coming to school. But I definitely got used to it, and I'm totally grateful for that experience. Being a commuter, you definitely, learn how to manage your time better, especially like you're coming from home. You have to like think about the trains or the buses or how long the commute is to school. Just making sure that your day is planned out is another thing. So being a commuter is definitely an experience, and it really helped me grow throughout the years, because I am definitely better at like managing my time efficiently and making sure that I'm still doing my homework. I'm home, like not too late, but I'm still participating in events that are going around campus, even though we're virtual now. And I'm hoping we're gonna lean towards like more in-person events in the future. There are definitely events, like most events will be available to like commuters. Every event is available to commuters. It's just like a matter of you not wanting to get home late. But I definitely learned that you can definitely be involved on campus more than I thought I would be. And it's just a great experience overall. That's why I'm still commuting, and I'm definitely not complaining about not living on campus anymore.
Awesome. Let's see, I'm going through the chat, making sure that we've answered all the questions. If y'all have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. We have a little bit of time, and we want to make sure that we have gone through and answered any of questions. Someone asked, and Jay, maybe you can speak to this, how can anyone start a new club?
Yeah. So when I started a club and how to start a club now, so different. But in order to start an organization, you need to have a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And then you also need to have 4 additional like general members that are interested in wanting to join the club. And so there is a new student org process. So you would have to go to a nuts and bolts training, which is like about an hour. And you talk about like, I think they do like a strengths training. So you take your strengths and you learn your top 5 strengths and how you work, how like the e-board can work with each other. And then when you do those things, you also have to create like a constitution and a budget, and you do have to sit in front of a student panel. So these are students a part of, SGA, like URSA, or like me, I'm a part of a student organization already, or like someone like ISA2, who's an orientation leader. So you have to present your organization in front of students, and then these students pretty much decide whether or not you become a recognized student organization or not. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Another question just came through to any of the panelists. What is the greatest obstacle you have had to tackle in terms of settling in when you first arrived to campus?
Mine was definitely, like I said, because I hadn't been here too often. And I come from like a really small town where I knew everybody. So mine was definitely the transition into like having to make new friends and having to meet new people and like learn a new surrounding, because I realized that I hadn't had to like make a quote unquote new friend or reintroduce myself to somebody since like maybe middle school, because everybody I went to high school with, everybody I went to school with was from my elementary school and middle school. We didn't get too many new people. So you're kind of in this new environment where nobody really knows each other. Not too many people know like the surroundings, and you're all kind of working through it together in this jumble. But I also think that helped me the most. And there were definitely times where I was like, wow, like I wish, I see these like big groups of like 30 people hanging out, and I'm like, wow, like, am I supposed to have 30 plus friends right now? Like, what's happening? Are they all best friends? Like, newsflash, no. And that's something that I had to learn and like figure out, that as you go through, like you find your people and you find those like really awesome roommates and you find like your best friends for life. And it's so incredible, but you just have to take it slow and understand that everybody in their freshman year is going through this new transition. So just because your transition looks different to somebody else's doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong.
Someone asked, did you find orientation to be a helpful transition to freshman year?
Definitely. I had so much fun at orientation. This was like actually when I had orientation, I was like, oh my God, like I'm grown now. I'm like staying by myself because I never really leave my house and like, sleep somewhere else. It was like a 2-day process. So I was like meeting new people. I was literally on my own because I didn't know anyone. So it was definitely an interesting aspect, and we went to the World Observatory, and I lived in New York for years and I never been there, which was really weird. I was like, oh my God, this is definitely an experience. Like I didn't think I would be learning new things about New York, and I am. And it was just a great experience. I'm still friends with a lot of people I met at orientation, and I'm definitely grateful for the experience because once I got to campus, I was better acquainted with a lot of things. I was like, hey, I saw that during orientation and that's familiar. So it was definitely it was a great starting point for me.
Yeah. A good question on here is it overwhelming to come to Pace from out of state and have to live in the middle of NYC? Is it overwhelming?
I'm going to answer truthfully, and it shouldn't scare you, because at first, no, I'm serious. Like, don't let it scare you. But at first, yeah, I was overwhelmed. For the first couple of weeks, I definitely was walking around like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if like this is right for me. Everybody's like running, it seems like, and I like got lost on a train. And I called my dad. I was like, Dad, like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And he literally was like, well, I already dropped you off and moved you in, so you're staying. And it kind of goes with that thing that I was talking about earlier that Mimi tells us, is to trust the process, because it can be overwhelming, but it's not impossible, and you will figure it out. Like, you'll figure out the subways, you'll figure out the streets, you'll figure out the friends, the getting involved, the classes. And that's honestly like the best thing that I can say about that, is that I don't like it when people say like, no, it was an absolutely perfect transition, like nothing bad ever happened, I never got lost. Like, no, you're gonna get lost, but then you're gonna like learn where you are, and you're not gonna get lost next time, you know? It's all about kind of growing into yourself.
Yeah. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but moved to Atlanta and lived there for about 20 years, and moved back to New York about 5 years ago. And I remember coming to New York and feeling like just visually stimulating, because there's all these tall buildings. New York is moving 1,000 miles per hour. There's always something happening. It's like never a dull moment. And I can remember also feeling very overwhelmed. But I think it's all about your mindset and how you view everything. Because for me, it was like, okay, if I'm lost, this is an opportunity for me to explore. And exploring led to like shopping and like finding out like little local shops that I thought was really cute and awesome. Then I learned one area, and then it helped me kind of sort of navigate the train system and learn different areas. So in a way, it becomes like an exploration. So if you're coming from out of state and you're here in New York City, like I think this is the perfect challenge to set you up for life. Because you're going to learn all those street smart skills. You're going to learn how to navigate through the subway system, just learning people and visual cues. Like, it's the perfect environment for learning and growing. And so if that's a concern for you, I wouldn't let that intimidate you or scare you. I would take on the challenge and come. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that over for y'all, but I just wanted to add that there. Can y'all talk a little bit about the academics? I know that there are some questions in here about classes and, I guess like your majors and how you're managing your busy schedules and things of that nature. Can y'all just kind of sort of expound on that a little bit?
I can, if nobody else wants to answer, I can talk a little bit. So I saw that there was a question earlier about how did you pick your major or double major, and just a little bit about my like academics life. I am a double major, so for me, I always knew that I wanted to do political science. I'm thinking about law schools now. Like, that was never a concern in my mind. I've always, like, from a young age, been very politically active, interested, so that was no question. I actually added my economics second major when I got to PACE, and I remember seeing it on my schedule as a first year student, because your first semester, your advisors make your schedule for you to make sure you're on the right track to like get a good footing. And I saw macroeconomics, and in my mind, I was like, economics, math, I don't like math. I don't want to do this. And I sat in my advisor's office, and I like just about kicked and screamed. And he looked at me and he was like, I'm not changing it. Like, you're going to do it. It's going to be fine. You're like, if you really don't like it, give it a couple of weeks and we'll figure it out. And then I gave it a couple of weeks, I gave it a couple of months, I gave it 2 semesters because I took another class after that. And I realized that I really like economics. It's something that I never thought I'd be interested in, but I really like it, and I'm oddly like really good at it. So I sat down with some more professors, the professors let me meet more of the faculty, and I realized like, wow, this is something that I would also like to major in. So I added a double major. And I think for me, academics is like one of the most important aspects of my college career. It's kind of why we're all here. So I absolutely love being able to have such personal connections with the faculty in both the political science and the economics programs.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat. Do you agree with the statement NYC is your campus, and is that true? I'll just go ahead and I'll let y'all answer this as well. I'll go ahead and just say, from our office's viewpoint, we don't compete with New York City. We incorporate New York City into your development, your social development here at PACE. So again, we're always sending students to Broadway series or Broadway events. We're always sending students to all kinds of like museum tours, all of those things, because I think that that's very important for you to learn not just how to survive on campus, but like what it's like to live in New York City and explore. And we don't keep that from students. We incorporate it in our learning and in the involvement opportunities that we provide for students. So I know that that's our intention, to never compete with New York City, because y'all would want to be out there anyways. But do y'all have any thoughts about that? Is it true? Is New York City your campus? And I just think about it, just living in the residence hall, and you open your window. I've stayed in the residence hall overnight for some of our orientation program, and just looking at One World Trade Center that's just like around the corner. I mean, why would we keep y'all from that? We want y'all to experience that. And so, again, we don't compete with New York City. We incorporate it in our learning. We incorporate it in how students are getting involved on campus. And we do think it's a strong attribute to living in the city. But I'll let y'all explain and kind of sort of share your thoughts on that as well.
I can speak a little on it. I mean, I definitely do think the city is your campus because, I mean, there's so many things to do around here. I mean, you got Seaport, you got Brookfield Place, you got the Oculus, you got literally about anything around here, especially the food. I'm a foodie, so like I'm always exploring so many things, and there's not like one type of, food here. There's like Mexican food, there's Indian food, there's Cuban food, there's like food from all over the place that's like just around Pace, and the trains are literally everywhere. So like anywhere you turn, you want to take the train to like downtown, you want to take it to like midtown and go shopping, or do you want to go to the mall, which is like literally a 10 to like 15-minute walk from Pace. It sounds long, but it's really not. It's like literally down the block from Pace, and there's this big mall with like all types of stores. So it's like you really do get the New York City experience in this little area that we're around. It seems very big, but it's actually very little. Like you can literally walk a little bit and then you find anything that you need. So that's why like I never really felt weird commuting, because everything I really needed during the day was around here. Like if you like doing your nails, hair salons, like literally anything, you can list about anything around this area. And also like the thing about Pace connecting you to the city, we have flex dollars. Like I said, if you're a foodie, flex dollars are like money that you can spend around certain restaurants that are around the area that Pace also includes in your meal package. So if you're interested in exploring and seeing what different kind of foods are like, there's a list of different partnerships that Pace has, and then you can go there and explore what kind of food they have. But yeah, that's just a little bit of what Pace, like this area, has to offer, and you really have to take advantage of it. You can't like just stay in your dorm room and be like, okay, I'll have the experience a few years from now. Trust me, years go by fast, and before you know it, you haven't seen anything yet. The city's literally so big, you cannot like see everything in a few years. Like I said, I'm an example of that. I've been here for years and I'm still discovering so many things about New York. So definitely it is your campus. So please explore if you have the chance.
Yeah, so okay, y'all are asking so many great questions, and we almost have like 5 minutes left on the clock. But someone asked, does Pace have a lot of diversity? Is it easy to fit in? Can one of y'all just very quickly and briefly respond to that? And if one of you can also talk about majors on campus, the different types of majors, and how do you kind of sort of figure those things out if you need help and support for that. And then someone talked about mental health, which is very important to us, in addition to diversity and mental health. Those are two major things that are major values that we have as a part of our curriculum and our core values here at Pace. So can y'all talk a little bit about that very briefly, like less than a minute, because I know that we're about to wrap up, and I want to make sure we answer some of these questions.
In terms of mental health, we have a really active counseling center on campus, and it's available for students that are commuters or also working remote. And along with being able to help you find counseling or different kinds of therapies for whatever you might be going through, they also offer staff members there who are like trained to help talk to you and They also do a lot of really cool programming. So we're just finishing up like a sober October month. So mental health is definitely included within the curriculum and everywhere on campus.
And then can we speak about diversity? Diversity on campus and fitting in.
I could speak a little about that. I definitely did find my group. We have BSU, which is the Black Student Association, and the Caribbean and African Student Association. I am African. I was born in West Africa, actually. And so it's like, there's not a lot of Africans around, but there's a lot of like, diverse. I didn't think there was a lot of Africans around, actually. Let me change that. I didn't think there was a lot of Africans. And then I joined these clubs where people are like, yeah, I'm from this part of Africa. I was like, wow, like I'm finding my people. Like people here are of my skin color, are of my background. They do come from a similar background as me. And I'm really into cultures. So I'm really interested in seeing how other cultures operate. And I get like more than enough of that here. Like I'm interacting with people from all over the place. I'm literally learning new languages, which is so weird. Like I start like attracting little words and little phrases that I'm using sometimes. I'm like, how am I learning all of this just by interacting with students? I'm like, where are you from? Can you like teach me like a word in, let's say, Greek or Armenian? Like it's diverse. I can definitely say that. I can vouch for that. You definitely have a lot of cultures represented here and a lot of international students that definitely find their niche here and definitely get the opportunity to interact with everyone because everyone is pretty accepting, which is something that I really value. Yeah, I am pretty impressed with the diversity here.
Yeah, I just want to chime in. We have a chief diversity officer that we hired a year or 2 years ago. And now we have a diversity and inclusion division within our university. And so they are committed to making sure that our campus is welcoming and inclusive and that every student can find their place here. And even within our office, we have what we call Mosaic. Under Mosaic is the umbrella of all of the cultural groups on campus. And we come together and we plan all kinds of cultural programs to raise cultural awareness on campus. So again, PACE is very committed to diversity. You will find your people, you will find your place. It is our primary responsibility to make sure that students feel like they belong here. And so if that is a concern for you, if that's something that's very important to you, it is one of our core values. It is one of our commitments. We even have a division after it because we want to make sure that we're not just saying that we're diverse, but we're supporting that in our actions as well. And even for staff, we have what we call the People of Color Collective, where staff members on campus can come together and have their community too. So again, as far as diversity, we are very committed to diversity, and we're very committed to making sure that our students feel inclusive on campus. It's 6:59, and Megan, I know that 7 o'clock we're wrapping up, correct? I just want to leave this one last advice with you. Never underestimate the power of an experience. You really never know what one experience is going to take you. I use myself as an example. I was a student leader just like Jade, Ursa, and Aisatu, and I just joined student government. Someone like dared me to join student government, and I did, and that one opportunity allowed me to become an RA, and from becoming an RA, I started the STEP team at my school, and from starting the STEP team, I became a resident director, and from doing the resident director, I got my master's program paid. From my master's program being paid, I got my first professional job in this field, and I've been in this field for 14 years now, and I'm still going strong, and I still love it. I still love the opportunity to share these experiences with students and create these experiences for students. So you never know where one opportunity is going to take you, and that's why getting involved is so important. I'm not just telling you it, I lived it, and I know Jade, Ursa, Aisatu can also attest to it, that it's very meaningful and impactful. So we hope to see you here at PACE. I know that it's an amazing campus. It's vibrant, it's dynamic. I know coming from Atlanta to New York, I've enjoyed working here. And so the staff, the faculty, everybody is just welcoming and just very, very student focused. And so I know that this is an environment that you would thrive in. I thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Megan, so much for allowing us to be on this panel, and I turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I'm going to put the email address in the chat for undergraduate admissions. So if you have any additional questions after today, let us know. We are more than happy to help. But Stacka, everybody, thank you so much and have a great rest of your night, everybody.
Have a good one.